It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. It is that time again. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll be talking to Blake coming up in just a second. First of all, let me give you some contact information. After you hear today's show, you're going to say, I want to talk to that guy. And it's real easy to do. Just give him a call at his office at Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com. Either way, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat that contact information several times over the next 30 minutes if you didn't get it this time, so you can get it next time. In the meantime, let's bring him in. Here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome brand new show. I missed last weekend. I was actually out of town, and I'm back here now. I was actually out of town with my coach last week, and I'm back here now. So we have the brand new market numbers in from last month, and the cool thing is it's positive news, right? So we're seeing that bounce back we talked about from the not horrific, but they were not great numbers. They're pretty bad, pretty bad numbers from the hurricane month. And so we have brand new numbers in. They're looking very good for us. So we'll detail those for everyone so you kind of see what's happening in the market right now. There is some very interesting numbers though right now going on nationally. I'm sure y'all probably talked about some of the show. Stock market, dropped 1,000 points. There's a lot of fear about recession, recession. And so what I did is I tracked a lot of the market numbers across the country, usually markets that we can follow about 6 months. And there's some interesting numbers. A lot of them are seeing a slowdown in regards to the actual price appreciation. And so we'll talk about what we're seeing there in some of those leading markets and obviously what that can help forecast for what we're going to see. And so that's probably the most important thing I want to bring to the show today, which we'll talk about here as well after we talk about local numbers. We'll hopefully get back to that one thing I had on the last show we didn't have time for, which was 20 tips for preparing your home to sell this fall, which is huge. A lot of great things and tools that we use to help our clients get max amount of money. And also, 5 reasons why listing your house this fall makes sense. And then, of course, some awesome success stories I'm super proud of. Our team's still been kicking butt like crazy in this bounce back, and even like I mentioned during the hurricane as well. And also, we still have 1 spot left of the 2 for an A player looking to join our team, ramp it up for next year. Because, like I mentioned in previous shows, we're not pulling up my foot off the pedal. We're still keeping that thing down all the way through the entire storm issue. We kept the pedal down. We're keeping it down now all the way through the end of the year. While most realtors are taking time off and getting distracted by the holidays, we're doubling down. And so we'll talk about what that is and what that means at the end as well.
All right. Well, sounds good. It's a jam-packed show as always. If you're tuning in for the very first time and you're finding out who this guy is, who is he? Well, he's been called the real estate whiz kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. On TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends, the morning show. You've heard the personal endorsements here from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, Barbara Corcoran, Gary LeVox, and others. Put that all together, it's a package that is unequaled, especially here in this local area. Now, in addition to being unprecedented, he's also got some trademark systems that he is the only one that uses in this market. And there are people from outside the market that said, hey, Blake, how do you do that? So he uses those and helps other people outside the market, and he can help you as well. Doesn't want to give away those secrets, but there is one thing that's the common denominator as far as that trademark system is concerned that you're not afraid to share.
Yes, for sure. This is like my big why, my holy call, so to speak, in regards to the industry as a whole, because it has to do with the biggest misunderstanding that people have in this industry. I've seen it since day one when I got in the business years and years ago, back in 2005, and I also grew up in this business. But it comes down to what success or failure comes in and get your home sold. So the single most important variable that determines your failure or your success as a home seller comes down to one thing and one thing only, period. That's it, right? You strip away all the BS and all the different reasons people have. It comes down to one thing, and that thing is the agent that you choose. And in particular, that means how the agent you have actually executes, because most people don't understand how the process works. They think everyone's the same. And like I mentioned, it could not be further from the truth, because the fact is, in selling a property on the listing side, there's 118 different variables. If each one of those is handled correctly, that puts money in your pocket and the property gets sold, aka you keep your equity, right? If any of those variables are handled incorrectly, that costs you money. So that would mean the ball was dropped. For example, if the buyer calls in on your property and can't get your agent on the phone, or an agent who's knowledgeable about it, that's going to cost you money, right? If there's someone that advise you correctly in the process, that costs you money. And so all these variables stacked up make a big difference. And so what you find is you have one single agent in most cases across the country. It's how most businesses work. You have a big box store who just has 100 agents, all individuals working on their own, right? Trying to handle all these variables themselves. You think 118 variables per listing. They're trying to do 10, 15 listings, whatever it is. That's a lot of work and balls that get dropped. And so what I did is we identified every single one of those variable points. Most agents have no clue what they are. They think the goal is just to get the listing, put it into MLS, put a sign in the yard, and pray someone, brings a buyer, and they go get the next listing. And so the reality is there has to be execution to get the property sold. And so what I did, we identified every single variable point. Then we create a system that's proven or repeatable that creates maximum leverage every single point. The goal there is to execute at every single level and move to the next, right? It creates a massive competitive advantage for our client because at the end, there's a huge gap between us and everyone else. That's how our results are so strong, right? Selling properties twice as fast, and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And how that works is you create a gap. It's like running a marathon. Everyone takes off at the same time. Some finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of time or ahead of the other people. It's in small increments, right? And so it's the same exact thing that we do in what we call the marathon of getting your home sold. And so for me, obviously we designed it, trademarked it. It's called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And again, that comes from stacking all these variables. It gives you a huge, huge, huge competitive advantage when you're selling your house versus what most agents do, right? The second thing is obviously the other side of the aspect is the buyer side. There's 100 plus variables when you buy a property. There are different variables. If each one's handled correctly, it saves you money and you get the property you want. I hear horror story after horror story after horror story where people had these things, right? They missed out on the house they wanted. They paid too much. They feel like they didn't get the service they needed because what the problem is not the agent doesn't want to. They just don't have enough time in the day to do all these things, right? And so our team and our system designed that. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System, and it gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation in the purchase process, right? And also the absolute best negotiation in the home inspection process. And so it gets you that advantage there. And the one thing, the bottom line is, if you look at the numbers in our MLS, the average agent sells 4 homes a year. If you look at it from a common sense standpoint, it's hard to pay rent on 4 homes a year, right? Much less advise your client. And so what you find happens, we see this every day when we're negotiating back and forth. Each other client, the other agent throws their client on the bus in 2 seconds because they're trying to get the deal done so they can pay next month's rent. That's why it matters who you use, right? They have business and they're successful in that, and they do that. Guess what? They're going to be able to have the ability to tell you the truth and what you need to do. We tell our clients all the time, hey, look, you probably should walk away from this because we know what it is, and it's all based on getting our client that win, not for the agent get their win. So the bottom line is the single most important variable is the agent you choose, and that's the one thing to take away from this show for sure.
All right. Well, if you haven't gotten that through your heads yet, you should, because we get into that just about every time here on the show. Coming up in just a minute, we got other things to get to, including your real estate update. As Blake said, we got brand new numbers in, so we'll check that out in just a second. And what are the mortgage rates for the week? It's really important. You need to know. If you don't know them, Blake will tell you in just a minute. If you need to get in touch with Blake, please do. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Or you can get in touch with him online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. If you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. Now, that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. That's so effective at capturing local and buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why, on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. This international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Call Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group. That phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Coming up in just a minute, interest rates. Where are they right now, and how much money could they be making you or making you lose? That's very important. Right now, though, it's very important to find out what's going on as far as the real estate market is concerned. What's it looking like market-wise?
All right, so looking at the graph, it's like a totally different ball game than it was last month, which is huge, right? We had the cliff, so to speak, on the line graph here. It was like dropped off, right? So just kind of give you an example. Looking at resale homes, which is single-family homes, we're up 12.4% this month versus same month last year. Wow. So awesome numbers there. So like, for example, there's 506 homes sold for last month, right? We're still very early in the month here, so we're gonna, always say realtors don't enter their data in on time, so it's going to take a few days to get all the data that usually will always go up. And so right now we're 12.4% increase in sales. So like last month there were 296 sales versus 506 this month so far, which is great news. And that is that bounce back we were talking about. And so the challenge is we will see another dip potentially next month from the pending sales that were missed out last month. So these closings that are happening last month, where some of those were supposed to happen the previous month in the hurricane, right? And so everything's in arrears, right? So right now we're in November, obviously, which is October's numbers that you see close. And so a lot of those set to October, which is obviously why you're seeing that. And some of those were already pending. And so we may see a dip here in November is my prediction. We'll come back and see that for sure, but great news there. And the reason that dip is because literally people couldn't be in town to buy stuff. Like we had clients coming in from New York and people were driving in as well, and they could not get here because of the highways obviously flooding and things like that. So that's something to look at as well. Great news. So again, 12.4% increase in single family home sales. Into the prices remain identically flat, I guess you say, compared to the same month last year. So median price for October, 215,000 even, which is great news in that regard. For example, in August it was 220. So something to think about there as well. Inventory is still continuing down. It's slowed down though. If you all remember previous episodes, there was a 10% or more decrease in inventory. Right now we're at negative 3.6% from the same month last year. There's 5.3 months of inventory, so it means we're still in a seller's market. Anything above 6 months is a buyer's market, and right now we're in a seller's market. It has crept up a little bit from 5.1 months, and so we are seeing statistically a little bit of softening. And I'll talk about what that means as well. It is in line with what we're seeing in some of the national areas, which is why I obviously dug into that research. I'm a nerd for numbers, like I've talked about, and so I'll talk about some of what the larger metropolitan areas are seeing in regards to their pending home sales. So either way, and that's one thing that was been one of my secrets, right? I look at what other markets are doing. I learned very early on. There's some that we follow almost 6 months to the T every single time. And so that's something we'll dig into here in a second as well. But talking about the same thing in regards to condos, we'll actually do new construction first. So new construction, awesome recovery last month. New construction sales up 28.6% last month. So the same thing there, kind of in that line graph. There were 258 new construction sales versus 174 back in September. And so a lot of that is pushover from closings that should have happened, but could not happen due to the hurricane. And so we'll continue to watch what happens there as well. Sales price up 7.3% last month versus same month last year. So right now, median price for new construction, $256,009, which is awesome. I'm not sure that $9 average that's in there for us as well. And overall, we're seeing kind of great numbers in that regard. Inventory for new construction is flat, 5.2 months. So literally the same exact inventory that it was for really the past couple months. It was at 5.4 months in August, 5.2 in September, and 5.2 in October. And so that's something we've seen there as well. And so that's great news that is still low in that regard. Looking at the condos, for resale condos, those sales actually slid a little bit last month. That was interesting to kind of watch. They're down 5.6% from the same month last year. And so obviously we're looking year versus year here. So you can kind of see, obviously we're a seasonal marketplace, and that's, I want to see what's happening now versus what happened that same last year. And so it does concern me a little bit to see that down the sales price aspect. Great news in the pricing world. Condo prices up 7.9% last month versus the same month last year. Median price for that is right at 135,000, and months of supply is down 3.8% for condos with 5.1 months of inventory. Y'all remember there's a few months back there it was right at 5 on the dot, and so you're seeing that loosen up a little bit as well. And so that's just something we'll continue to watch. But overall, we're still very, very, very healthy. You can see that forward momentum charge slowing down a little bit, which is something to watch. Obviously, there's a lot of concern. We'll talk about in a few minutes, people with the stock market, potential everybody's crying, potential recessions, things like that. And so we'll talk about, in one of our previous shows, we did talk about, how the housing world is a little more insulated this time, where it's not what's driving that recession like it was last time. So we'll get into that. But I like to do what I'm really good at. I don't try to be an economist. I just try to look at what real estate does here and versus what it does versus everyone else. And so that's what we advise our clients on. That's something to watch as well. One of the things that's been driving this slowdown, so to speak, is the mortgage rates, right? And so like we've seen that creep up at 5%. We've seen that creep above 5%. And so one of the things to look at, like last week's show was at 4.94%. And today we're at 4.97%. And so it's kind of been up and down. We were at a 2-week low here recently, but it has crept back up. So right now, 30-year fixed rate, 4.97%. 15-year fixed rate, 4.46%. 30-year jumbo loan is at 4.46%. And a 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now at 4.50%. And so the reality is we have seen that continue to creep up, as everyone talked about. In that regard, we will see that probably continue to rise. Overall, we're much higher than where people thought those predictions were. Like it wasn't supposed to even get to 4.9 until first quarter next year. Obviously, we've already hit and exceeded that in that regard. They were saying the average for 2019 is going to be 5.1 or higher. Everyone lately has been raising those to basically expect something a little higher. That will obviously hinder some buyer purchasing. So a lot of our clients, especially coming in, here are relocating, downsizing, things like that. And so if it is, you want to take advantage of that, right? Because that rates goes up, less buyers come in, and potentially if there's a slowdown in the marketplace, that's something we want to talk about here as well, which we'll get into here in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. We got a lot of good stuff coming your way, obviously, in the next little bit. Coming up in just a minute, we've got your hot buyers alert. Also, a lot of great success stories that Blake wants to tell you about. If you want to get in touch with Blake, you should. Not just you can, you should. Give him a call at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. You're listening to the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
You want your home sold on time and for the most money without all sorts of excuses? Hi, it's Glenn Beck. And when I had to sell my home, I went through several agents who all had good ideas, but the bottom line is they couldn't get the job done. Well, you have a celebrity in your own town. If I lived in Myrtle Beach, no question, I would call Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Blake has a marketing system that reaches buyers from around the U.S. and around the world. And week after week, he attracts hundreds of buyers. And that creates incredible demand. And that's why he can guarantee to sell your home price at a deadline that you'll agree to, or he's going to buy it. Plus, you don't really risk anything when you list with Blake, since if he doesn't live up to the contract, you walk away free and clear. It's really no wonder why Sean Hannity and I, along with real estate tycoon and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran, endorse Blake. Call Blake Sloan right now, 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or visit Blake's website. That's blakesguarantee.com. blakesguarantee.com. Or listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 or Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on WRNN.
The Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. That's what you're tuning into here this morning. We appreciate you being here. Coming up in just a minute, we've got some great success stories from Sloan Realty Group and Blake's team. Right now, though, it's time for your hot buyers alert for the week. Blake and his team working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers that are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area, anywhere in the range from $150,000 to $3.5 million. If you're in that range and even thinking about selling, Blake needs your inventory now. So call him at 808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. How many people are looking for places along the Grand Strand? A lot. It's over 50,000 on his website right now, and these are active home buyers. The actual number is 50,335 people who are looking not just once a week to see if there's anything new in the Myrtle Beach area, but maybe once an hour because they're, as you say, like stalking
Yes,
your website.
they are coming in from everywhere. I think we were at 700 plus leads last month that came in new in regards to just this one site. And our whole difference here, like those are real people, like Dave mentioned, username, password, account from all over. You know, one of the things that we target very highly is everyone Northeast because that's where the money's at, right? That's where everyone's selling stuff up there. They're relocating down here. They see value in our marketplace. They see value in our property taxes. And so that's what we target because obviously we're in business to help serve those people. And so like right now on the site, Rhonda Church is on our site. She's from Kernersville, North Carolina. We got Raymond and Chantel Solomon from Stafford, Virginia. Debbie Roach from Troy, North Carolina. We got Fredericksburg, Virginia, Bethlehem, PA. So you can see all of that is just the top 5, 6 people on the site right now. And one of the things we have is we're huge on technology. We're huge on obviously our business model because we have a team right now. I think we're up to almost 17 buyer experts who are on the team that basically all day, every day, they just hunt. They follow the leads that we get. Their jobs to serve them, to help them, and obviously bring them to our listings if we have it. And so our advantage from a business model standpoint is we get outspend the average agent almost 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint because our model is a lot different, right? If I was a single agent trying to follow 50,000 leads, will be impossible. But for you as a home seller, it gives you a huge advantage because there's a much bigger funnel. It goes back to that saying all the time. You can take your classic Corvette and put it out in front of Walmart and probably get a buyer for it, right? But you take the same classic Corvette, put every Corvette enthusiast website, every classic Corvette enthusiast magazine, you're going to drive more traffic, and guess what you're probably going to get? A buyer who's going to pay more money for it, right? It's the same exact thing that we do is drive that traffic. I'm basically a marketer in the real estate business. That's my forte. That's what I've studied. That's what I feel that we're best at. And so the bottom line is, if you're thinking about selling, reach out to me. Don't wait till Tuesday. Don't wait till Wednesday. Call today. 843-808-SOLD. Also, what's most important, we'll talk about this in a second, is anyone you run into, friends, relatives, coworkers. I don't care if you see them at a coffee shop and they talk about having a struggle or needing to sell, have them call us first. We get to help so many people because people in this show have shared their success stories, share what's happening, and that's kind of the main reason that we do that, right? That's all we really ask for. Anybody you run into, have them call us. Just say, hey, look, you got to call Blake, put him in the headlock, whatever you got to do. 843-808-SOLD for sure. And so really quick time-wise, I don't want to wait too much, but I really have some awesome success stories here I want to share. And the two are awesome because they are someone who shared with a listener, share with someone else who needed it. So James, he was referred to us by an amazing radio listener. His goal was to get his home sold for top dollar, but he wanted to be back home by Christmas. He moved back up north. He knew that we had the marketing to get it done. We came in, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos. We drove massive traffic, had it under contract in 7 days. So here's the cool part. Not only did he get the top dollar for the home, he got back before Christmas, but he got back before Thanksgiving even too. And so that's not something that he even expected to be done. And so we'll have him back by Thanksgiving, which is awesome as well. The same thing with Jose. He was referred to us by an amazing radio listener. Received a new job out of town. The problem was, though, that he needed to get top dollar for his current home he had here to allow him to make that relocation, which he thought was going to be a struggle. He called us. We came in. We determined that we can push the limits and get it done based on his neighborhood. We launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic, and got the house under contract in a couple of weeks for 99% of asking price. So Jose was able to take that job, feel comfortable about it, and the home is going to close soon. And so the reality there is we get results, right? We hustle, we push more than anything right now. Obviously, you can tell I'm intense. My team knows I'm intense. Why everyone, the thing I've been preaching lately too to our team is that while everyone else agent-wise is in la la land between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're doubling down. We're pushing hard. There's people that are coming in town buying still. We're extracting the opportunity from the bounce back of everyone that missed it in that hurricane that did not come in town. And our agents are maxed out right now on the buyer side as fast as they can. So if you're thinking about selling, you know someone who is, you want to take advantage of that now in regards to the fall marketplace, which is still very, very, very strong. A lot of times people make that mistake of thinking, oh, Christmas is coming up. That's still 2 months away, right? So the reality is you can get results in this meantime, and you probably want to make sure you're beating that as well. And how much time we got left? About 4. All right, so I want to talk about something that's kind of interesting here from a national number standpoint. And this is something that's kind of separate, but the one thing everybody's been looking at is kind of national sales numbers. And I had an article from a while back that said, pending home sales slumped for the 7th straight month as some of the overheated real estate markets have slowed down. There's a lot of areas like in Colorado and certain parts, they were way overheated. They were crazy. They had like 2 months of inventory. And so the reality here, we're seeing slowdowns in some of those marketplaces dramatically, where they dropped, significant in both June, July, and August. And so I went to some of the Case-Shiller Index rollovers and kind of looked at some of the marketplaces. And Seattle, which is kind of one of the fastest drivers, their home price growth has slowed down the most since 2011. And so it's interesting to kind of watch what happened there. And that's year-over-year pricing that you kind of run into. And you can watch how as interest rates have gone up, they're significantly dropping off. And so that would be a market that was harder than us. And so if you watch year-over-year, Las Vegas has gone from being significantly higher to kind of evening out. San Francisco has already seen a decline in that price aspect. The same thing, Seattle is seeing that very, very significantly. Denver's seeing that same thing right now. Tampa's still performing fairly well. They're like a beach type area. Obviously, they're kind of between 6 months. We're like a 3 month behind them kind of thing. And so obviously, Phoenix in the same thing. LA's in the same thing. We're seeing what that is. It's a slowdown on price appreciation. And what that means, obviously, from our standpoint, you want to sell before it obviously potentially makes that turn at all. And so anyone out there, right, they may want to wait and say, well, I'll wait till spring. The reality there, it will be a danger, obviously, of anything struggling economy-wise, stock market-wise. Everybody, obviously, as those things happen, it tends to strike fear in people to make decisions, aka buy a new house. And so that's something you may want to watch out from a standpoint. If you've been thinking about downsizing, you've been thinking about making that move, relocating, whatever it is, take advantage of that now. We're at a high price standpoint-wise. We're seeing that same appreciation slow down here. We went from double-digit growth in prices to 3% growth, right? You're seeing that happen. So from a data standpoint, my job is to advise our clients and obviously listeners the best we can. We're seeing the same thing happen here on a small level, which means it's going to be a few months away. The last thing you want to do is wait till January and February and then try to make that decision there to make that jump, right? Take advantage of it now. We're still very low in inventory. There is not, technically any decline that we've seen yet because you want to hit that part. But the reality is the growth from pricing increasing has slowed down here and has slowed down dramatically even to a decline in some of the major metropolitan areas across the country. And so that's something to think about. If you have any questions, we can easily advise you one-on-one. Our team is very dialed into this. I trained on this for hours this past week with my team. And so anyone thinking about selling or someone give us a call, 843-808-SOLD for sure.
All right. Don't sit back. Don't just say, oh, it's the holidays. Don't do any of that. Make sure and call Blake. He'll guide you through all this entire process. Get in touch with him at his office at Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group. Make sure you get the right place and get the right number at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to BlakeSloan.com, BlakeSloan.com. Blake, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Sounds good. It is the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song